Hey cats, good morning. It is early morning. I don't think it's going on 7 a.m. here, but I got an early start this morning. I'm going on a little adventure, but I wanted to read a little story to you as I can here, and I'll kind of ad lib it a little bit, so I won't go into a whole lot of details. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of where I grew up. I grew up in a little town called Hinckley, Ohio. And I'm heading there this morning. It's going to take me about 40 minutes to get there. But there's an event going on there today. But this is what has led up to that event. In the 19th century, when the settlers first settled this area, they had their log homes and they had their cattle, they had sheep, they had pigs, cows, chickens. The problem was, though, they were living in the wilderness, and in the wilderness there's a lot of wild animals. And so as it was recorded, in one evening, there was more than 100 sheep slaughtered by wolves alone in Hinckley in one night. And so the farmers, they were beside themselves, because if it wasn't the wolves, it was bears or some other predator that was killing their animals. Their fences were getting ripped down, and they didn't have the modern fencing to contain their animals like we have today. So their wooden structures were easily. So, anyways, the farmers they'd pull out their guns. They'd sit up all night waiting to protect their animals, and it was just getting to be a real hassle. Well, it was in 1818, way back then, 1818. They were fed up with it. So they got together and they declared that they were going to have a war of extermination on all the beasts in Hinckley. So they drew up a battle plan for the Great Hinckley Hunt of 1818, and it was a slaughter like no other. So almost 600 able-bodied men and any boy that was old enough to handle a weapon participated in this hunt, and it was in December, in late December, and they had mapped out the area for weeks, and they declared there would be a $15 bounty for every wolf that was killed. Well, according to accounts, the order was that the farmers would gather at early daybreak armed with rifles, guns, pitchforks, flails, clubs, and every available implement of war to form a continuous line on all four sides of the township, and at the given signal they would advance towards the center, killing and shooting and slaughtering any game that came within reach. Now, Hinckley contained more than 25 square miles of rugged woods and wilderness area at that time. So hunters came from all over, Cleveland, Newburgh, Royalton. They formed the lines, Richfield, Brecksville, Bath, Granger. All the surrounding communities gathered together to help out with this. And soon after sunrise, the commanding officer gave the words to go. Captain Milton Pierce gave the account that the words were loudly repeated around the line to the right and came around to the starting point in just 40 seconds, showing a really good organization of this thing. So the men sounded the bugle. In the frosty air in December, the dogs began to bark, and off they went. They were all fortified by whiskey, and they marched forward in the crunching snow. Well, the noose slowly tightened on the beasts of Hinckley. Not just wolves and bears, but everything was fair game, including fox, deer, turkeys, and even raccoons. Yeah, and almost immediately the gunfire erupted, with bullets whizzing through the trees. Snarling, frightened animals fled deep into the woods, but there's nowhere to hide because they were surrounded by all sides. They came in contact with plenty of wolves right away and bears, and shot several of them. And one guy said he came upon this monstrous bear. He said he thought it was the largest bear that he'd ever seen. And he wounded him twice, and the bear fell down each time but got up and kept going. And he finally cornered the bear in a gorge where he killed the thing. But the animals were all kind of corralled into a small area. The trees were blazed with bullets. Some of the hunters climbed up in trees where they could shoot down on the animals. And by late afternoon, the gunfire finally came to a cease, and the great Hinckley hunt was over. And when the smoke cleared, the hunters took inventory. Now get this. They had killed 21 bears, 17 wolves, 300 deer, and unknown numbers of turkeys, fox, and raccoons. And miraculously, you're probably wondering about this, only 2 hunters were wounded in that entire barrage. One man got shot in the shoulder and another was struck in the leg, but none of them were serious injuries. So they started big bonfires that night. They prepared a great big feast. They drank whiskey, they shared stories, they sang, and they roasted as much meat as they could. And they had this huge feast to celebrate. So that was the great hunt of Hinckley. Now, as the story goes, there was so much dead carrion laying around that the buzzards came. The turkey vultures came to feast on all of this. And there was so much for them. You know, the buzzards came in swarms, and because there are rock ledges there that cause like an updraft, the buzzards can soar around there easily. And so ever since, it's been said that the buzzards always come back to Hinckley on Buzzard Day. Today's March 17th. Today's Buzzard Day, and I'm going to Hinckley because they have the Buzzard Day celebration. And we're going to see what that's all about at the Buzzard Roost. I've arrived at the official Cleveland Metro Parks Buzzard Roost in Hinckley. They got crocuses coming up already. Well, here's the scoreboard, and so far there's nothing on there. You'll see there's this is what the vultures will look like when they're up, when you're looking up in the sky. Not to be mistaken with anything else. And then there's kind of what they look like. We got some fires here to stay warm.
Our focus, we were kind of letting take it over, but we still celebrate the.
Oh, that's nice and warm.
The turkey vultures, but it's fun. Yeah.
Now we scan the skies here all the way around, looking for the turkey vultures to start soaring. It's probably about 7:45 a.m. So, and it rained last night. We had some really severe storms last night. Lots of thunder, lightning, hail, heavy rains, and there was tornado warnings too. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. I don't know what they got here. This kind of a buzzard effigy thing here. Interesting. Now they do have Buzzard Sunday, which is, I think, on the 24th. So it's at least a week away. And down in Hinckley, in the town of Hinckley, the old elementary school, they have a big pancake breakfast. I think it's like $15, and all kinds of, like an art show and all kinds of different displays and stuff there. So I don't know if I'm going to check that out, but I thought this would be cool to do because I grew up here in Hinckley, so you know it'll be kind of fun to see if we see a buzzard this morning.
To the earth, so it's not only they use it to get up, but they also use that updraft for smelling. And so then when they'll see things, and then they'll smell things, and then they get closer and they can see it. So it's a really cool dynamics that they have of their, yeah. But what happened is they'll roost at the tops of trees or like in pines or in old buildings, and then as they are rising up, you're going to see them right above the horizon or above the trees. So
this is Foster. He's our Buzzard's official buzzard spotter.
what model are you rocking here? Oh, the Viper. Oh, Vipers? Yeah, these are the big ones. The newer ones. Yeah. That's right. These are officially, these are Brecksville's nature. I borrowed some from them this morning. Well, who did they ate your turkey, right?
This guy's got all the Buzzard Day stuff going on here.
Oh, yeah.
You've been doing this since when?
So like a tree like this,
my life,
basically. Off of it, are the top
Over 60 years.
This is like typically that would be a good roosting area for.
Yeah, we grew up just over that way.
Where you have like flat area.
Well, it's getting later and later in the morning, and we've got quite a crowd here. We still haven't seen any buzzards yet, though. But we got some good camaraderie and meeting some new people, and it's all good. Well, I thought Buzzard Day was going to be a blowout because it was an overcast, cloudy, misty, gray, cold day. And, you know, we'd be like, everybody's looking and they're like, oh, there goes a goose, you know, and oh, there goes a duck, and there goes some birds, but we didn't see any buzzards. Well, all of a sudden, hours later, actually it was like 10:45, 7 buzzards came out of the fog and flew right, you know, kind of soared around, circled right over us, and then they were gone. They disappeared into the haze. Everybody was ecstatic. We all cheered, yay, we saw buzzards. The thing about the buzzards is, though, they're always here. They've been here almost all winter. It's just kind of a tradition that people show up there for Buzzard Day. And it was kind of fun, though. I got to meet some people that I grew up with, actually, that I hadn't seen since I was a child. We all lived in the same neighborhood, on the same street, so it was kind of fun to catch up with those people again. So yeah, so there you go. That was my Buzzard Day expedition. I think I gotta go get something to eat, though. I got there at 6:45 this morning, and it's 11 o'clock now, so hours later. And all I've had is a cup of coffee, so that was the funny thing was, when we were there waiting to see the buzzards, I had to pee so bad. And a couple other guys said the same thing. They said, man, I gotta pee, and there was no porta pot there or anything. So everybody kept saying, I know as soon as I leave, then the buzzards are gonna come. And said, yeah, that's probably right. And it's a good thing I hung out there, because had I gone to find a restroom, I would have missed it. And they're probably still standing up there with no buzzards to be seen at this point. I mean, it was just the one thing. Here they came, and then they were gone. So they did have the media there, and Channel 5 news camera was there, and he actually stuck the camera right in my face and was interviewing me. So heck, I might even be on the evening news tonight besides YouTube. I'll be a Channel 5 celebrity for Buzzard Day. All right, cats, that's all I got today. I'm going to hit the road, head home. Till next time, take it easy.